Ra-pa-pa-pa, ching, 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 ching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our first show of 2026. I'm still Mandela. It is Thursday, the 8th of January. We have jobless claims about to be released, hot off the wire, and these are current. Since the government shutdown, we haven't really had much data come out on time, but this one is one of the first on time. We also have some other really exciting giveaways during the show. We're going to be giving away a $5,000 account. You're not going to want to miss this show. Also preparing you for today's trading day and the New York session. Let's get over to the show. All right, we're kicking off 2026 in style. I want to say a thank you to each and every person who is watching us live. Thank you very much for your support and watching us today. We have jobless claims coming out of the U.S. In about a minute. Let's have a look at the charts here. So at the top left, we have our favorite S&P 500. Then we got Bitcoin for those coiners, US dollar here, bottom left. And then silver has been doing a lot recently. Let's see, we got about 45 seconds left on the clock. Not sure if you could see that at home, but the main number here is unemployment claims. We also have a not as major data point here, preliminary tongue twister into 2026, non-farm productivity, quarter over quarter, unit labor, and trade balance as well. But we got about 20 seconds left on the clock, and this is the one we're really focused on. Unemployment claims expected to be 213,000 versus 199,000 the previous month. So unemployment claims for 2025 December coming out any second now. And we're going to see if there's a reaction. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is. And one of the most important things is we're not trying to predict the future here. We're looking to react and react as best as we can based on the reaction that the market gives us and the opportunities that the market gives us. So a little bit of a muted reaction, at least initially. We like to try and give it a few seconds. So roughly more like 60 seconds to 90 seconds for things to kind of shake out. Looks like we're getting a little bit of an up move here initially in S&P 500. Very muted from Bitcoin, not much at all. Silver is actually moving lower. US dollar slightly higher, but not much of a movement here. So let's see what the actual data was. We got our trusty, rusty rectangle here. So there we go. So came out, unemployment claims came out lower than expected, better than expected, coming in cool, 208,000 versus a 113,000 forecast from economists and analysts. And it's slightly more. So they revised this one higher. So the November data was revised slightly higher here. So this is good, showing some sort of resilience in the workforce in the US, technically meaning less people have filed for unemployment claims in December than expected. So I think theoretically a positive thing, but we're watching to see how markets react to that as a result of that announcement. And at the moment, not much of a reaction. So let's first and foremost, before we start to dive into the charts, and we have a lot of thoughts about what's going to work in 2026. We got questions about what stocks do we pick and why do we pick the stocks that we do. We have questions about how do you get into investing, the whole gamut. I do want to just take an opportunity to just say thank you to everybody who has been supportive of us. We needed that time off. It was necessary to take a few weeks of sanity. So in the live chat, we have General Mortala Welcome General Mortala to the live chat. We also have the one and only Tesla trader, making sure that Tesla's fully charged and saying Happy New Year, in the office on time, new year, new me. I love the attitude. I love it. We also have Ngai. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name perfectly. Isildur is also in the office and present. Great to be here. Let's go. And we have a question here. Should I sell gold? We can come back to that in a little bit. There could be some opportunities to exit some gold positions. But for the time being, we are just going to have a look at the reaction to this jobless claims data. And sometimes when you overhype something, it doesn't happen, and that's kind of where we kind of see ourselves. So I read a very interesting post. It was actually an article that was forwarded by Jason Shapiro, which says a lot of people who want to get into this business, into this industry, are focused 100% on predicting the future. And what stock do I buy? When do I buy it? How can I make money? And the most successful people, and one thing that I've learned over time, is that it's less about trying to predict what is going to happen next, and more importantly, to focus on reacting to what is happening and unfolding before your eyes, and having the tools, obviously having the knowledge, and then having the processes in place to then react to a ever-changing market environment. So I thought that was very interesting, and I thought I'd mention that at the outset. We will be giving away an account for one lucky winner, so $5,000, 5,000 buckaroos. All you got to do is click the link in the description, fill out the form, and then you will be entered to win a $5,000 account courtesy of City Traders Imperium. Let me try this. So this one here, that bad boy, that will get you into the prize giveaway, and I'll also take a moment and I'll put the link in the live chat for everybody who is watching online. Here we go. So the live chat, feel free. I don't bite. If you have questions or concerns or anything that you want me to cover, the live chat is open and available. So please ask me any questions. We will be covering things like gold. We're looking at S&P. We're looking at what themes are going to work in 2026. And then also opening up the floor to any things that you're looking at. Any sort of ideas that have come across your desk, or any questions that you have where you're not understanding why the market moves the way it does, or why Trump is in the middle of a complete policy slew of information each and every day. It's like 6 headlines. So feel free to reach out, and we're always happy to help. I'm just going to type enter prize giveaway. There we go. All right, so if you'd like to enter the prize giveaway, we are live on the Signature FX YouTube channel, and we're also live on the City Traders Imperium site as well. So there we go. Okay, so enter prize giveaway. It's really easy. Click the link or scan the QR code, and you'll be entered into the prize giveaway. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at some charts now. Not really seeing much movement after the jobless announcement, and there could just be a bit of a pause here, waiting for tomorrow's big headline number. First time we've gotten non-farm payrolls on time since the government shutdown. Anybody who's heard of NFP or non-farm payrolls, that's the headline number. That's what I think most market participants will be focusing on for tomorrow. But today, the unemployment claims here, if we open it up from our friends at Forex Factory, they basically explain that it's the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. So yeah, that would be 208,000 compared to what was expected, 213,000. So better than expected, but a little bit more than last week. Why do we care about jobs? Well, a couple reasons. If you are, worried about your job, or you're worried about AI taking your job, or maybe possibly you're unhappy with your job, you may be looking to look at other streams of income, for example, trading potentially. So you would be then effectively leaving the workforce. And this is basically focused on the US. When you have people leaving the workforce in droves, it tends to be a bit of a drain on the economy, statistically and in theory. So we like to keep an eye on unemployment claims and non-farm payrolls, which is tomorrow, because it gives us an idea of how healthy the job sector is in the US. So if we had to summarize this, a little cooler than expected, but a little hotter than last week. So a little bit mixed. I would go as far as to say a little bit mixed. If we compare the previous reports, they're all more or less around that $200 milestone, that round number 200. So all a little bit below, a little bit above. If we wanted to see this presented in a little bit of a different way, there is also a graph here. Our good friends at Forex Factory like to hook us up a bit. So unemployment claims, less than expected. That's a good sort of downtrend, showing that the labor force in the US is more than okay at the moment. But like we said, tomorrow is going to be the key data for non-farm payrolls, which tends to be one of the biggest monthly announcements. Between that and CPI, which is inflation, non-farm payrolls is the biggest labor data point. And it's also looked at by the Fed. So next up, let's have a look at some charts. If we had any requests, please let us know. If you have any particular requests, we're happy to look at some charts that you would like to see. But we're not really seeing much of a reaction to today's data. And yesterday, we did finish off a little bit softer in the broader market. So S&P finished a little bit lower yesterday. So we'll see how we start today. We got another 45 minutes, just over 45 minutes until markets open in the US. So anything can happen. Let's look at gold. So we got a request for gold from our good friends over there at CTI. There we go. Of course, I got to get used to the keyboard shortcuts coming back from a long vacation. It's nice to be back, though. It really is nice to be back. So gold here, I think everybody knows the story. We were being asked about gold in this sort of consolidation area back in April of 25, so last April, and it was playing a bit of ping pong around 3,200 and 3,500, 3,450. We got what was I would call it a nice upward move outside of this consolidation, or above this sort of key price at $3,400 the ounce, and that just continued higher, and that happened around September. So that's kind of when a lot of the institutional traders and institutional investors have had their holidays in the Hamptons. They're returning back to the desk, kind of like the January 6th. Everybody's back from holidays, and look what happens. Gold moves up all the way to what would have been an all-time high then, 4,300. We got a pullback below 4,000, and then finished the year very, very strongly, all-time high, right there on the 29th of December, 2025, hitting a whopping $4,549 the troy ounce in gold. So now we've pulled back a little bit into the new year, and we're kind of in a little bit of a middle range. So the question was, should you sell gold? A lot of questions for you based on that question. So one of the questions is, when did you get in? If you got in down here, then you may want to look to sell take some profits. Also, what is your time horizon? What is your investing goal? Are you looking to hold until retirement? What is your age? I could give you about another 50 questions. if you are trading it and maybe you got in, I don't know, this week, then you may want to have a different sort of analytical mind going into what decision you'd like to make. So I think those are the questions that I would ask. And that question came from Nguy. Should I sell gold? And my answer to you is, if you feel as though you've made enough and you want to take some profit off the table, then by all means, be my guest. This is a great opportunity to actually remind you that nothing that we say in any of our shows should be construed as financial advice. Please conduct your own analysis and seek your own financial advisor before making any decisions based on topics mentioned in our shows. This is also available in the description. I know most of you know this, but it's worth reminding you. Gold's had a really nice run up. I could see it cooling off a little bit here. We had Venezuela headlines are still hitting the tape. And then yesterday we got Trump on and off the defense theme. First he was ridiculing the defense sector, and then overnight wake up to messages about him saying that they want to increase the defense spending by 70%. So, I mean, this is a very difficult market to trade. And I got a message from one of the traders that I know who does more small caps. And he was saying, this was on Monday, he said, Mandela, are you finding that the edge that you once had has changed? Because he trades mainly small caps, so stocks that are either in the Russell or very, very small capitalized companies. And all the data that he's done, all the back testing, all the work that he's put in has now been tested in the sense that some of the strategies that he's worked so hard on over the years, they aren't working anymore. Whether that's AI coming into the marketplace, whether it's just the market participants are just getting hip to it, and now that edge is no longer there, it's a combination of things. So you have to kind of be willing to always learn and always evolve if you're in this business. There's no one strategy that's always going to work every day in every market condition. You can have your rules, you can have your framework, but there are days when there is going to be a message out of nowhere. Like yesterday, China says that they're considering not accepting the H200 NVIDIA chips. In the middle of the trading day, this is like an hour and a half into the New York session, we're getting news that China's basically not going to place orders or forbidding orders of NVIDIA chips. Then to come to find out later on in the day, I think it was, we end up seeing that China is going to be placing orders. So it's all over the place. It is all over the place. So you have to be very, very focused to really succeed in these markets. Let's see who else is here. So we got a few people who are asking about entering the prize giveaway. So the prize giveaway is posted in the description, and there's also a link here if you want to enter. It's for a $5,000 account, courtesy of City Traders Imperium. So if you're interested, make sure that you enter. The link's also in the description. Actually, we're gonna be right back in a few minutes. When we come back, we'll have a look at a few more charts, and then we'll give you our outlook and our thoughts for the trading day today, preparing for this Thursday, the 8th of January, getting ready for what will be a successful trading day, and how we're going to be preparing and setting up our trades. So without further ado, we'll be right back right after this. welcome back. This is the Pre-Market Show. If this is your first time with us, we do this each and every Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow, I will be joined by my partner in crime or partner in trading. Andrew will be joining us tomorrow, bright and early. We always do this show at 8:30 New York time, 9:30 Bermuda time, 1:30 over here in London. If you're interested in more information, you can always reach out to us. And our contact information is in the description to this video. If you would like to contact us, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, always feel free to also type in the live chat, which is always available. So I'm going to have a look at some of the charts and then give you our thoughts for this week, taking one day at a time. We think that today could be a little bit quiet, in preparation for the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. We also have very interesting Supreme Court opinion announced tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. That could be where the Supreme Court has decided that the Trump tariffs are illegal, or that Trump did not have the sufficient authority to issue the tariffs. There are some arguments that Trump could find some workarounds using some other legislation, some other legal avenues. But the fact that the announcement could come out tomorrow could give us a little bit of some volatility to trade tomorrow as well. So we have 1 hour before the market opens, we have non-farm payrolls tomorrow. And then what would be an hour and a half into the trading day, is that an hour and a half into the trading day? Sorry, 30 minutes into the trading day, doing my my time zones math. So 30 minutes into the trading day, we will get that Supreme Court opinion tomorrow. So we'll be watching keenly. So saying all that to say today could be a little bit muted, a little bit quiet on that front. We will be doing the prize giveaway a little bit later. So in about 5 minutes time, we will be giving away a $5,000 account. So you have 5 minutes if you wish to enter, and all the best to all the entries. Thank you very much for everybody's participation. All right, so charts. So we have S&P 500 here, not much to look at. Yesterday was an interesting day. So if we highlight yesterday, here we go. All right. And yeah, we do a combination of time frames. So we trade on a daily basis, S&P 500 in the form of SPX options. I know a lot of people who are watching today trade ES futures, S&P futures, and I know a lot of people are getting into futures. I personally trade S&P, the cash index, which is ticker symbol Sierra Papa X-ray. So yesterday is right here. Started out more or less here yesterday. So this was the day yesterday. Okay. And then this would have been Tuesday here. So yesterday started off kind of choppy, to be honest. Went up a little bit, came down a little bit. So you would have had to been very patient going into the first sort of hour into 2 hours of the day. The time zone down the bottom is Bermuda, one of the best time zones known to the human race. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Bermuda time zone, you can disregard the time zone down the bottom. But this is 10:30 Bermuda time. So we went up, we went down, we went up, we went down, and then we were able to get a new all-time high, which makes a really good headline on CNBC and on Bloomberg. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on everything was raving about this new all-time high. And then what happens after the all-time high is just they took the floor out. So that would have been a great opportunity up here. The highs of the day ended up being the highs of all time, basically. And this happens from time to time where you get the euphoria. I know a lot of people talk about volume. Probably a lot of people going long up here, chasing it, FOMOing in, and then getting disappointed on the way down. So the question for today is, what happens next? Where do we go from here? we do have those two data points that we spoke about happening tomorrow in the form of NFP and the Supreme Court decision. So I would be very cautious going into today here. If we look at, this is our S&P chart for today, and we'll just clean this up a little bit. All right, let's hide that. Cool. So same as yesterday. So we got the overnight high here. The close is going to be key. So do we gap into the open? My spidey senses are telling me that we may not get a big gap into the open, but on the in the order of key levels or key prices for the S&P, and this is purely based off of my opinion. Please remember that this is just my opinion. I'm going to be looking at S&P, whether or not we open higher or lower, doesn't really matter. I'm going to watch as we open. If we move higher, key levels for me are going to be the overnight high, which is 69.29. Then the all-time highest close, which is where we close on Tuesday, the 6th of January, 2026, is at 69.44. And then yesterday's high, which was the all-time high, is sitting at 69.64. I do think if we break this, I think we could see some nice blue skies. A nice little move up to 7,000 would not be too far. And I think a $7,000 round number, it sounds nice. 7K. I mean, my son's all into 6, 7. So we've had the 6. We need the 7. Not saying that happens today. Maybe we get that after tomorrow's NFP. But yeah, I think the next target to the upside, and we can even put a little squiggly crayon here. Not a big technical analysis guy, but there we go. 7,000 on the nails. That's kind of what we're looking at for the upside targets. Maybe it's next week. Maybe it's before the end of the month. But those are the kind of the 1, 2, 3, and then 4 targets to the upside. If we get some continuation of what happened yesterday, remember from around what's that, 1 o'clock Bermuda, we saw selling. Whether it's cashing in profits, realizing profits, it could be maybe some short-term put buying, whatever it is. We did see some decent selling coming into the close, and we did finish near the lows of the day. That's important. I think where we close is very important. Retail tends to trade the open. Institutions tend to trade the close. So that's telling me that there is some selling into yesterday's close. Tells me that there is some willing sellers. So we move down. Here we go. 48 points, 47 points from the all-time high. And it looks like this morning we're going to open up around 69.13, so just under yesterday's close. 69.13 is about here. So we're probably going to open up just underneath last week's high, which is good to know. We could zoom out if you want to see last week's high for yourself. This was last week's high. So opening up a little bit below that. Down to the downside, we have the overnight low coming in at 68.94. And then below that would be last week's close at 69.58. And then we get into what was we had 3 months closing within 10 points of each other. So October closed here at 68.39. November closed at 68.50. And then December closed at 68.44, all within each other. Very, very tight. So, I mean, take from that what you want. But we didn't really move much in 3 months, especially on a closing month basis. And then the last one down here is last week's low. That would be my sort of target if we are looking at a downtrend. So we were talking about this earlier, which is it's not necessarily as important to predict the future. And when I look at my predictions, a lot of them tend to be about 50-50. Maybe 52% of the time I'm right. The importance is when I'm wrong, I get out, I cut it as soon as possible. And that allows me to ride the winners. So when I'm right, I tend to be right for a while, and I allow those winners to run. And that, I think that's one of the secrets that I've kind of been able to realize over about 20 years of being in this business. All right, now is the time for the prize giveaway. There are no more entries at all for the prize giveaway. I'm gonna just quickly look at the chat here. Somebody's asking, Isilder's asking for oil. We can have a look at oil. No email was sent after. Okay, we'll reach out to you, ISO. Happy New Year, coming from Kian Nils. Happy New Year to you too, Kian. Hopefully your New Year is going very, very well. We also have some nice chats here. SPX 7000 next week. Come from Jalen Smith. Thanks, Jalen. Jalen, thanks, man. Thanks for watching. Thanks for posting. We did have a look at gold, but we didn't have a look at Bitcoin. So what we'll do, let's get the prize giveaway out the way. Then we'll have a look at Bitcoin and we'll have a look at oil. And then from there, we can wrap up the show. I don't want to go over too much because we have to get ready for the trading day. But let's do the prize giveaway first. So let's remove that. And then we're gonna see how many entries do we have. We got a couple entries. Okay, thanks everybody for entering. Just a reminder of the rules. Only one entry per person. You can only win once every 30 days. You gotta post on X or Insta and tag us and CTI. And you'll be contacted directly with the information for your free account. All the best to everybody who has entered. I'm going to copy everybody's name here. Here we go. Feels nice to be back. It feels like it was a bit of a long break, but it's nice to be back. All right. What is your name on YouTube? Okay. I don't know why it does this. So it's not giving me. Okay. I like it when it just gives me a list, and for some reason it's not giving me a list. All right, let's go with email addresses. Here we go. Okay. Copy that to here. Okay. All right, so we're copying everybody's name into the random name generator. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask for a little bit of drum roll. There we go. All the best to everybody for today's draw. For today's draw. It looks like N guy. All right, congratulations. Well done for winning. And you will be contacted by City Traders Imperium with the information for your live account. So thank you very much. Thank you everybody who did enter into the prize giveaway. We will be doing another prize giveaway tomorrow. So if you'd like to draw, if you'd like to enter the draw tomorrow, we'll be here to do it all again. All right. So request for oil first. Let's have a quick look at oil. Okay, so oil, I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, Jalen. Oil was the worst performer, one of the worst performing assets of 2025. And you know what? I thought for 2026, it would be what no one is expecting for oil to actually come back to life. And I do remember Andrew as well. Andrew's been harping on, in a good way. He's been beating the drum. Not the oil drum, but he's been beating that bass drum about oil and Venezuela. And he had his fingers on the pulse. So I got to give credit where credit's due. So just looking back at oil here, it's just not really, I mean, it couldn't get off the mat if you tried to help it off the mat. I mean, this is a generous trend line. I don't like trend lines, but I'm chucking it up there anyway. Also on the top side, maybe this is a nice little narrow channel, getting a little tighter and tighter. We have seen some strength yesterday and the day before, I mean, I think technically speaking, if there's more oil entering the market that wouldn't have, there's more supply. And essentially, more supply tends to mean a decrease in the price of the asset because there's more of it. It's more abundantly available. You can get it from anywhere or you get it from more places. Therefore, the price should be cheaper. But interestingly, after the capture of Maduro, there was an increase in the price of oil. And we've kind of seen oil kind of start to find a bit of a floor. I think it's going to be interesting to see the timeline of how things unfold. I know there was some messaging today about Trump meeting with oil executives. So as more and more information becomes available, I do think we could see movements in oil. Another thing to kind of keep an eye on is not just the actual oil itself, the physical raw material. And we're looking here at light sweet crude. There's also Brent. You can look at, there's also the oil companies. So the oil companies have performed quite well. If we look at the last 5 days and we pull up a chart of some, and I'm looking at the time, I got to get ready for the trading day in a minute, but we got this question from Jalen and we want to give it some attention. So we got here is, depending on how you want to trade it, Ventex Oil Services ETF, last 5 days, not great, but up. We also have oil sector. That's a leveraged one. DIG is another one. There's plenty of ways to play this. There's also some, I guess, more individual names. So if you're going into actual stocks themselves, that's not a great example. We got Chevron here. So Chevron did really well on Monday after the first trading day after the extraction of the Venezuelan president. It was one of the best performers. That's ticker symbol CVX, so Charlie Victor X-ray. Did really well on Monday, and it's kind of just faded a bit as people are trying to analyze and assess how is this actually going to play out. Valero has been one to watch. So this is one that has actually held up very well. The story behind Valero, ticker symbol Victor Lima Oscar, is Valero is able to actually process the very unique type of oil that is in Venezuela. So Valero is one that's kind of held up since Monday. So this would have been Monday here. And it's actually a bit higher after a week of, or let's say 4 days of news as it continues to be released and comes out. So we'll keep an eye on this story. I mean, like I said, if you want to just trade the oil itself, you can do. I think that was a question from, that was your question, right? Sorry, that question wasn't from Jalen. That question was from Isildur. Yeah, Isildur was asking us about oil chart, please. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you can trade the oil chart itself. It's been very sluggish, very slow moving. But I would say if we were to break to the downside here, it's been what's that? Going all the way back to, that's April of 2009. That's been a low. So long standing low here. So if we do break below, that's about $50 a barrel on light sweet crude, we could see a move even further to the downside. So we'll see. I mean, this channel is what I'm watching. If we break it to the upside, I think that's more contrarian view. Maybe there's some concerns about actually getting the oil out of the ground. Maybe there's some supply concerns that we don't know about yet. That could be some upside potential risk in the price of oil as well. So I always try and look at what's the consensus for oil. Consensus is it has to go down because of more supply. The contrarian would say, well, what if it goes up? Can it go up? If it goes up, is anybody prepared? Is anybody on that side of the trade? What are the circumstances that could cause it to go up? And that's kind of how I like to think. Now, going back to the question here from Jalen, and then we're going to finish up the show because we're about to have the US Open. It's about to happen. So BTC was a question from Jalen. Jalen was looking at BTC. Here we go. So yeah, beaten up. I thought it was gonna come back to life here. So I'm gonna have a sip of water here. That's good water. Yeah, so thanks for your question here, Jalen. We were looking at a Bitcoin that was probably the least loved. And I said that about oil. It was a tough choice between oil and Bitcoin going into like December last year. But yeah, we were following this sort of guided line. I know I talk about not liking trend lines. But we thought, okay, if we break above this guy here, then maybe we can continue higher and we can play catch up with the rest of risk assets. But it's tried to make a move above this. Would have been the 50-day high. That's about 94,800, and it's pulled back from there. It's not showing signs of strength. And I mean, all the narrative is liquidity, money printing. Fed is looking to lower rates, maybe not in the January meeting, but probably in the February meeting. Everything is pointing to more and more liquidity. And Bitcoin is looking almost as bad as oil. Not good. So I'm still a little bit hesitant here. I would say if we're looking at the positives, because I think the market is for the optimists, we are looking at what could be a higher low and what could be a bottom forming. So maybe a bit of a bottom forming in Bitcoin. I would say the key here for me is I would say 87,000, between 87,000, 88,000. I think that's gonna hold. We're gonna have to hold above that, especially going into NFP tomorrow. We could get a big move after NFP or the Supreme Court announcement. I'm thinking it could be make or break time here. Maybe we see another further low in Bitcoin. It could go a lot lower, but right now it's just under 90,000. I was rooting for it. I'm not gonna lie. I was rooting for it going into 2026, saying, all right, you've had your downtime. Now let's get back to business. But we can cover this tomorrow on the show as well. Running out of time. Thanks everybody for joining. We had a great show. Jalen's talking about 7,000 on the SPX. You know what? I'm gonna get a hat. If S&P hits 7,000, believe you me, I'm buying a hat that says SPX 7,000. You heard it here first. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We got General Mortala. Salute to you, Mr. General. And Guy, who won the prize giveaway. We got Andrew as well. Andrew's going to be in the pocket tomorrow for our live show. We will be doing it all again for you tomorrow. This is what we call the pre-market show. Each and every Thursday, each and every Friday. You know where to find us. X, YouTube, wherever you like to watch your shows. And we love bringing this to you. It's called the Pre-Market Show. We'll be back with you tomorrow to do it all again. Until next time, everybody, be safe, have a wonderful trading day, and happy trading.